We're going to begin this hour with the third part of our series that we call Facing Fertility. This morning, we are focusing on menopause. That's the end of fertility for women. And now more than ever, women, including big names like Michelle Obama, Naomi Watts, and others, they're coming forward to say, we got to talk about this. Most women start menopause around the ages of, say, 51, 52. 5% of women experience early menopause. That means between the ages of 40 and 45. And 1% experience it even before the age of 40. So talking about menopause, we know this isn't always comfortable, but it's so very, very important. That's why Drew Barrymore and I said yes when Nikki Battiste asked us, let's sit down and have a conversation. We started that conversation with perimenopause. That's when many women start to notice changes as the body starts transitioning toward the M word, menopause.
Was there an aha moment where you thought, I'm in perimenopause?
I realized that I was in perimenopause when I started having my period every 2 weeks. And then that...
Wasn't it a heavy flow? That's a sign.
Yes, like a teenager. Well, one doctor also just told me, like, this could last, you know, on the worst case scenario, 10 years. And I was like, I will never make it 10 years like this.
Well, I did.
Well, help me.
I did.
Gayle, how
Another thing you're going to have to help me through, Gayle.
It can last 10 years. I mean, the perimenopause doesn't last 10 years, but I still have, you know, they say by the time you're 50, definitely there's something going on. I'm just glad we're even having this conversation, Nikki, because I didn't even know the phrase perimenopause.
Same.
I had never even heard, I'd heard of menopause, but I'd never even heard the phrase perimenopause until I went to the doctor because, you know, not to get too graphic, but when it first happens for a lot of people, it looked like a crime scene.
Since you've been through the whole process.
But I don't think I'm done because I still have hot flashes.
You still do?
I still do. Not as much as I used to. Not as much as I used to. A couple times during COVID, I'm like, is this COVID or is this menopause?
What does a hot flash feel like? Because that I'm not getting yet.
Feels like, it starts with, it feels like you're burning inside and then...
Like acid reflux?
No, it just feels hot.
Okay.
For me, it was just a physical heat. And then you can sometimes have dripping, drenching sweats that just can happen at the most inopportune times. I've been on the red carpet where a photographer will say, Gayle, are you okay? I go, it's just a hot flash. And they go, oh, sorry. It's like people when you say, I'm having a hot, oh, sorry. Like they've said something very bad about you.
But
that's why I think it's good we're saying, yes, menopause, hot flashes, dry vagina, it's all part of it.
Most people just hear menopause and think it's hot flashes. That's all it is, but it's so much more.
Why has hot flashes been marketed so well where people go, oh, sure. But if you say perimenopause, I'm in menopause, you know, I'm experiencing this, most of it seems very unfamiliar and confusing, not just to men, but women.
Did either of you seek any treatment? Go talk to a doctor?
I did talk to a doctor, but I didn't take any hormones. You know, I know friends that have creams or they take medication, and I've just sort of weathered through it when I realized you really don't have to do that.
I was offered hormone therapy and I said no.
Why?
Because I really didn't feel like the doctor who was suggesting it understood where I was at. And it seemed preemptive. And I'm like, until I get so desperate, and this is all so obvious, I don't want to take something preemptively. At some point, there might be a treatment that's right for you. So don't do it too fast, but don't be a hero unnecessarily if you don't need to be.
Yeah, don't be a hero. The other reason why I think this is hard is because when you think of menopause, you think of old.
Yeah.
You think of old, her life is over, she's done.
Put her out to pasture.
Yes, and what we know is that's just not true. That if there's any message we could get across, I think that would be the one that would be the most helpful.
How do we change the conversation about menopause to be
this
humorous?
Keep talking, because it is kind of funny.
Crime scene.
Everything is kind of funny. I think the more women also, you know, in their 40s, 50s, and 60s are looking so attractive, feeling so vibrant, living their best lives, the way menopause has been branded is you're old, you're done. That's not it.
Yeah. You're old, you're done. Your vagina is dry.
Yeah.
You have no value in society anymore.
You're not attractive.
You're not attractive. It's like cobwebs down there.
Yeah,
I mean,
you're not sexy.
And all that's not true. Also, the other thing, Nikki, is you don't have to have drastic symptoms. not everybody has these kind of symptoms. I know some women who they've been through it and they've just sort of sailed through it, have had very minimal things. It wasn't disruptive to their life. That was not my experience. But my mother also had very bad symptoms, but she never talked about, listen, I remember being on vacation with my mom and she had white pants and her period came on. She was in menopause. It had to be perimenopause. And this blood started gushing. And I said, what is happening? She goes, oh, nothing. I'm fine. No conversation about it.
Why is that? Why has that been the way for so long?
Yes.
Even our own mom.
Yes, because they were embarrassed. And it was in...
a generational thing.
It was generational and it was improper and indelicate to talk about. You're not raising Frankie and Olive that way, I'm sure. Yeah.
I think we should educate
Nikki,
our sons,
I was
too.
just going to say
You
that.
have to tell the guys.
Bo's mom, I was just going to say that. I think you have to have a conversation with your boys as well. But I do think kids, boys and girls, should be well informed. I don't want little boys going, ew, I don't want that. Because it is something that we go through. And it's just, you know, male and female, there are differences. And those differences are okay.
If you were to use one word, one phrase to describe how we should think about menopause, what would it be?
One word. Reality.
Mine's natural.
Ah, that's good.
I think ours are really, as usual, hand in hand.
That's good.
Yeah.
Reality.
An OBGYN who specializes in menopause told me that hormone replacement therapy can be safe and effective if it's done at the right age for the right amount of time. What that time frame is can vary from woman to woman. Another doctor told us that women who reach menopause before 45, especially before 40, should strongly consider hormone replacement therapy.
Yeah, all the doctors will tell you that it is safe. We did something with Dr. Sharon Malone at Oprah Daily. She says we need to stop normalizing. She's also a doctor who specializes in this. Stop normalizing suffering around this. You know, it seems such a taboo and uncomfortable thing. But I think Michelle Obama says it best. She says, you know, when you reach menopause, be glad that you've reached it. It just shows you're at another stage of life. She says, there's no shame in my menopause game. And I think we have to figure out a better way to reframe the conversation so it doesn't make people uncomfortable, including men,
I think
including little boys.
That's a great point, Gayle, because
Yes.
throughout this conversation that you were having, I think Tony and I we kept asking questions. I'm stunned at my own ignorance when it comes to this particular subject. I'm actually stunned, and I consider myself somebody who kind of knows a lot of things about a lot of things, and I don't know anything as much as I should about this. And I have a little girl at home.
And understanding is being able to make us feel more comfortable. And I think for me, I always worried, will I be less desirable? Will I be less sexy when I hit menopause? But Gayle King, you're living proof that
no,
that is
and the
not
answer
case.
is no.
Yes.
The answer really is no. I mean, there's just so much stuff that happens to a woman's body. You guys are so lucky in that respect. We have so many moving parts and so much stuff that happens. I don't feel you guys have to go through half the stuff we do.
Not a competition.
Gayle, I want to thank you and Drew for your transparency in having this conversation.
It was a
helped
good
so many
conversation,
others.
Nikki, yeah.
I also want to thank our Facing Fertility series producers, Hillary Cook and Rachel Bailey,
Yes,
and
shout
editor
out.
Chris Hassan. They've been wonderful. And a personal thanks to my fertility doctor, Dr. Eric Foreman at Columbia University Fertility Center.
Such
He
an
works
important
magic.
series,
Yes.
Nikki. I'm really proud of you and our show for doing this.
Me
Thank
too.
you.
But Nikki guided us through it, you know, because Drew and I could both be long talkers. Nikki has a tendency, let's get back on track, girls. That's what we're talking about.
I learned
Well
so
done.
much. Thank you.
Well done.
Well done. Natural and reality. Those are the two words. All right, Nikki, thank you very much.